I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have no addenda for tonight's agenda, so I would ask for a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All members in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item. First call for citizens' comment. If anybody in the audience would like to address the board, now will be your chance to do so. Please stand and state your name for the record. Hearing none, we'll close citizens' comment period. Move on to consideration of the minutes of the regular session school board meeting on February the 20th, 2019.
I move those minutes be accepted as presented.
I'll second.
Motion second to approve the minutes as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all members in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, motion carries. On to finance. First item is a recommendation to approve the resolution to transfer amounts from the education fund to the operations fund. Mr. Chapman?
Members of the board, this is going to be one of those things you'll get periodically now throughout the course of the year, and basically it's the same as it has been before, and I'll just abbreviate, give you the Reader's Digest version of it. Therefore be it resolved that the Board of School Trustees authorizes the Treasurer of South Vermillion Community School Corporation to transfer the amount of $374,081 from the Education Fund to the Operations Fund to reimburse the Operation Fund for expenses that are not allocated to student instruction and learning under Indiana Code 20-42.5 for the period of January 1st, 2019 through March 31st, 2019. We ask your approval this evening.
Okay, you've heard the resolution. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Motion second to approve the before mentioned resolution. Yes, thank you. As presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All members in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, motion carries. Moving on, vouchers for the month of March.
I move we approve vouchers 98865 through 99092. Second.
Motion is second to approve vouchers 98865 through 99092. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All members in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Motion carries. March's personnel report.
Members of the board, the March personnel report is provided in your packet this evening. I would like to highlight a couple of items for you. One, Central Elementary Secretary Lori Perschbacher's retirement at the close of the school year. She's been with us for 23 years. That will be effective June 3rd, 2019. And with that, we would like to recommend that Central Part-Time School Treasurer Janice Bizzani's position would be a change of assignment to the School Secretary/Treasurer upon the retirement of Lori. This would be in line with the positions at Ernie Powell and Van Dyne as well. Also, the School Transportation Director David Henry's resignation effective April 1. He is currently utilizing his leave days till that point. Michelle Baguetto is being recommended to fill the position on an interim basis until further notice. And we ask your approval of the March personnel report this evening.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion is second to approve March's personnel report as presented. Any further discussion?
Janice is.
Yes.
She's
yeah. Mr. Jenkins and I met over that, and he met with Janice to see if she was okay with that, and she is good to go. And so we'll use that as a change of assignment and combine the two positions.
Very good. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All members in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next item, curriculum instruction assessment update. Dr. French, you're up.
Yeah. Stand up soon. So I just wanted to give you an update. So last month I shared with you kind of the data of what our existing curriculum looks like. like. As you can remember, it's kind of red on those illustrations. And so, so far we've met with 2 new vendors. And they are, we're meeting with 4, and we're only meeting with the highest effective companies. So we met with 2 vendors so far, and we're gonna meet with 2 more after spring break. So we have a committee of 15 teachers and elementary principals. So far their feedback has been great on one, and then kind of iffy on the other. So we're just kind of going through, we've got like a rubric of criteria of things that like our top 5 most important things, and then just going by all the criteria that Ed Reports provides. So that's what we're looking at for K to 5.
Is that just math, or is that?
This would just be reading.
Just reading.
Yeah. And so currently, if you remember, currently we only have a reading series for K to 3. And 4th and 5th grade is what we call open resource. So those teachers use trade books and develop their own lesson plans. So what we would like to move to is to a K to 5 reading series so that there's more continuity. And that just provides a lot more support for new teachers as they come in to have a reading series instead of trying to develop lesson plans or use somebody else's lesson plans. Looking at math, since this is a reading adoption year, it's not math, but as you can remember, we're not working with the best materials that are available in math. So we are going to do, towards the end of this year and going into next year, a pilot of a new curriculum that's actually a non-for-profit curriculum. It's completely free, and it's one of the highest effective curriculums. And we're going to try a pilot for grades 4 through 8. And we're doing 4 through 8 because we're departmentalized in 4th and 5th grade. So those teachers won't be working with 2 new curriculums at once. You'll have the reading teachers working with their new reading curriculum, the math teachers working with their new math curriculum. You don't have them trying to swallow both at the same time. And so that's kind of what we're looking at going forward. And those 4th through 8th grade teachers are really going to be, I guess just, they're going to give us the best insight as to whether that was viable curriculum, what they felt as far as results and usability. And then if they are all on board and like that and feel like that's effective, then the following year we'll extend that down from K to 3. So right now the pilot for math is just 4 to 8. If it works and we're on board with it, then we'll extend it down all the way to kindergarten, and that is a free curriculum.
And so what was your criteria? Why did you like it so much? The 4th through, the one you're gonna pilot, the math, what was?
The math? So it's one of the highest effective curriculums according to the research that's provided. As far as usability, alignment to standards, and text quality.
Are you willing to give the name of it yet?
Yeah, it's, suspense. Engage New York is the company, and then Eureka Math is the product. And it was actually developed by the New York Department of Education for their teachers. And now it's the most used math curriculum in the nation. 55% of elementary teachers and 42% of secondary teachers use that math curriculum. And it is aligned to Common Core standards. So that would be something that our teachers would have to do. It's called a crosswalk to make sure that all the Indiana standards are being met.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, those are aligned already. So those might be a few areas where we have to supplement. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of it on the curriculum front. And then just want to let you know we finished iRead testing. There were a few issues. So this is our first time with the new vendor. It's the same vendor that's going to do our iLearn. So we've just done our 2-week testing window, and there were some issues, so they're extending it through the first part of April, the first week of April. But the really exciting thing is the scores are available 24 hours after. So tomorrow, the scores will be online. So we can go ahead and see what our iRead scores are. And before, that's usually taken 2 months, yeah, at least, end of May. And so that's really great. And we're supposed to do the same thing with iLearn. They're supposed to be available, I think it's going to be 2 weeks the first year though, because they've got to create the cut scores. But then after that, it should be like within day turnaround. So that's really exciting.
iRead just 3rd grade.
3rd grade.
Third grade,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's kind of we have to get a waiver if they don't pass retest. And yeah, so it's a an important benchmark for them.
So since you get the information back so quickly, are you planning on maybe doing some of the work for kids who will need to retake before the school's
Yeah, that will
out?
give us a great
Yeah.
chance to do some remediation, because beforehand, we didn't get it until the end of
Yeah,
May, when summer school was
Right.
happening, and then we didn't even know how many kids we'd have for summer school.
Right.
So yeah, this will give us an extra opportunity for that.
So typically, when's the retake then?
So we usually do it, summer school is typically the week or 2 weeks after school gets out, and then we give the retest at the end of summer school. So usually the first first week of June, the end of the week. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other
Thank you.
questions? Thank you, Dr.
All right,
French.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item. Recommendation to approve a half e-learning day on April the 4th, I think it's now the 3rd, correct? 2019 for the purpose of mandatory suicide awareness and prevention training. Mr. Chapman?
Members of the board, state law now requires that all teachers are to complete suicide prevention and awareness training. When we say teachers, we refer to anybody who is certificated, from the superintendent to principals, assistant principals, teachers, librarians, school counselors, school nurse, we have psychologists, social workers, all those. This is to be conducted much like the CPR and AED training. You have to be certified as a result of the training. So we're looking at a 3.5-hour training that will be conducted on site here at the high school on April 3rd, and we're requesting a half-day e-learning for that day, by which students will be released after lunch with the assignments for the afternoon classes via the e-learning platform. Staff will then go through the training session in small groups with certified trainers during the afternoon, and once approved, we will complete the logistics with regard to the transportation department and the cafeteria department, communicate with the parents as soon as possible to make sure that they are all up to speed on that. And again, this is a mandatory training. In order for licensing to be up to date, teachers have to have this. So we ask your approval for half-day e-learning on Wednesday, April 3rd.
I would make a motion to approve that. And where do the trainers come from?
Indianapolis, from the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. They have an Indianapolis office. We've been communicating with them over the past couple of weeks to lock down the date to make sure we had available trainers.
And
to
are
do it.
do they do the training all over
Yes.
Indiana?
Yep.
For all Indiana school districts?
I believe
Well,
they're the only one certified right now. Is the issue. Right?
There's a couple of areas. I mean, we looked at a couple different options. Part of the Mental Health Association there in Terre Haute offered, but this operation here is funded through the state and national federal grants, and they offer it to us for no charge. Other options were certain dollar amounts per participant, which in some cases proved to be very costly. So I communicated with the folks at the DOE, and they were very highly recommended this outfit. So we're going to go with them, and hopefully I think it's every 3 years, I believe, the CPR training.
And is there any train-the-trainer aspect in that?
There is,
Yeah.
and we're gonna, the first training session for the train-the-trainer was next week during our spring break, so the logistics weren't real good, so we're trying to set up a training session somewhere closer, like Terre Haute, so we can get not just our folks, but other folks from other local school districts, so we're kind of pushing that a little bit too.
And we'd have more flexibility then, huh?
Yes.
Now, did you say it was 2 half-days or
It's
just
just one half day.
One half-day, okay.
The assist program that they have is the extensive 2-day training, 8 hours a day, and that's where those folks will get certified to be trainers.
I see.
So, what's the plan to, given that we're on spring break, are we gonna get that on social media or email?
Yep.
So,
We're gonna get that. We'll send out school messenger and all this, that, and the other. We're gonna start on it tomorrow.
okay. Yeah.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the half learning day on April the 3rd. Bruce. Any, for the mandatory suicide awareness prevention training. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all members in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next item, recommendation to develop and post Donors Choose program, or project for the South Vermillion Middle School film team to purchase books and various items for filming with a total cost of $253.
Members of the board, per policy, all crowdfunding requests must meet board approvals, and Mrs. Sellers is requesting that this proposal be approved for her middle school film students. She's seeking funding for the necessary equipment to provide quality work for her students, and we're asking your approval this evening.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve the Donors Choose project at the middle school as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all members in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next item, recommendation to approve field trips. Mr. Chatham.
Members of the board, per policy, field trips extending the school day or that are out of state or occur during non-school time must have board approval. The field trips listed in your packet this evening fall under these guidelines. They include high school FFA trips to the Leadership Center and Trafalgar, and for livestock judging, and also you have high school band students of the month going to Indianapolis to hear this Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra, and also you have the marine biology students going to the Florida Keys in June of 2020. Not this summer, but the following summer. We ask your approval this evening.
That Florida Keys trip's a little expensive.
Better than the Hawaii trip. Yes.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve the field trips as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all members in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, motion carries. Last item for this evening, recommendation to approve elementary transfer.
Members of the board, this elementary transfer request you have in your packet this evening is for the remainder of the current school year in order for the student to finish the year in which they started. Both principals have signed off that they are in agreement with the request, and we ask your approval this evening.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the elementary transfer request as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all members in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next item is the last citizens comment period. If anybody in the audience would like to address the board, please stand up and address the board. Hearing none, we'll close citizens comment period. Okay, first, we'll conclude with first superintendent comment and then board member comment. Mr. Chatham.
Thank you, Mr. Ring. Couple items for the board. As part of our strategic plan, we are in the process of conducting the following tasks, if you will. One, we are in the midst of hopefully finishing up here very soon a facilities plan, an assessment looking at our facilities, in particular needs at the middle school and the elementary schools. Also looking at the enrollment trend and projection, updating it as it is. Hoping to kind of make sure that the trend that has been is not as bad as it once was forecast. Also updating.
I'll ask you a question about
Yes.
that. So, you know, the one Bob Boyd did several years ago.
5 years
you looked
ago.
at that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And matter of fact, I will be meeting with him later this week. The plan is to update the 2014 demographic study that he did to see what the forecast was then, where it's at now, moving forward. Just revise it to make sure it's current.
How is from when he forecasted to now?
As far as enrollment wise, we're a little bit better off than what he had forecast, but still we're in a downward trend, but still better.
Okay.
And the last piece is a financial forecast for the next 5 to 10 years as it relates to our debt service and management. And once these are completed, hopefully later this summer, we will provide the board a comprehensive report moving forward as part of our strategic plan. Also, Chris Verdine, who is the project manager for our auxiliary gym project, We'll be here next month to give you an update on the project we'll keep our fingers crossed with the hopes that either June or July board meeting will be able to, prior to the meeting, be able to take you on a little tour, just kind of see where we're at. We should have the shell up and running by then, so at least give you an idea what it's soon to look like.
Could we do the same thing with the soccer facility?
We,
Get an update on its status?
yeah, not a problem. It's pretty much, we just got some loose ends to tie up on that, but we're getting there. Once the weather breaks for good, we'll be able to get that finished up. I think the biggest issue right now is not getting any machinery out on there because the ground is still way too moist.
Yeah, you're probably 3 or 4 weeks away before you.
Yeah, I figure late April, early May, we'll be able to put the bleachers and the scoreboards up. But we're just kind of keeping an eye on it. Depends on how wet the spring is going to be. And that's it.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chapman. Mr. Cool?
Our bowling team did real good at the high school. They need to really be proud of themselves what they accomplished that. I'd like to see you and Tim get what it's gonna cost to put that electronic scoreboard out there at the front.
I sent some estimates to Mr. Chapman earlier
Okay.
last week.
Cause now's the time to do it while they're doing the add-on. And, that's about it.
Thank you, Mr. Cool. Mrs. Corrado?
I don't have anything except everybody have a pleasant, hopefully warm spring break.
Mornings start out kinda tough, but
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Corrado. Mr. West?
The only thing I got, I don't know if all of you are aware that the band has been invited to perform at this year's parade, Thanksgiving parade at Orlando
Oh, wow.
at Disney World.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm sure that request for approval will be coming to us sometime in the next month or so.
I just emailed her today and told her to make sure she puts it in for next month's board meeting.
So,
Well, that'll be
good.
this year's?
yes, yeah.
This year.
Well, we got some heavy fundraising to do pretty quick, huh?
Yes, they do. Yes,
Wow.
they do.
How did they get invited to that?
I think she applied for it, and then she was waiting to hear back, and she just got confirmation late last week that they would
Awesome.
accept
I
her
think-
to perform, so.
I think they monitor these organizations like
Yeah.
ISMA, yeah, and they're looking for
And your state
championship
winners.
bands, yeah.
That's
See, Paris was
awesome.
at the Chicago's St. Patty's Day. Paris High School was at,
Really?
yeah.
So that's quite an honor for us, I think.
Sure is.
And then, of course, got one young lady, I think her name is Emily Taylor?
Yep.
That I
Middle
sent the
school.
email? Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
That's
that
exciting.
was awesome too.
yeah, so hopefully we're gonna have her in here next month with, Mrs. Bars and, yeah, that's gotta be exciting.
Yeah.
Lot to be proud of, huh?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, cause I can't carry a note in a wheelbarrow, so. When I see people like that, I'm just.
We know that.
That's all, sir.
All right, thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. West.
Thank you.
Mrs. Ave?
Well, to carry on this whole thought about a lot to be proud of, I wasn't here at the last meeting, and I would have liked to have said it then, but I just wanted to comment about the wonderful experience around the homecoming this year. With the activities and then what the court, the king and the queen, the court did, and it was just one of those really soft, kind moments. And the wonderful press we got over it, the good articles. I enjoyed sharing those articles with my family and friends outside of this community to show, what kind of heart South Vermillion has. So I just wanted to get that said. And then the only other thing, I've been hearing about the tennis
We're on it.
grounds there, the court, how badly, are we gonna get will the
We're working on it.
developer?
Yeah. It's been 3 years.
It's
and
3 years, we're trying to figure out, 3,
3, yeah.
and it shouldn't have gone to pot that much, huh?
Well, there's something going on there we're not aware of.
Yeah.
We're just not sure why. But it's the same if I'm not mistaken, Mark, it's kind of in the same line as where the old crack was, and that shouldn't be, unless there's something way underground that's messing with us.
Fortunately, there's only one crack on one court. The rest of it's all right down the center, in between the courts. So the playing surfaces are all, I mean, it's still 95, 96% good.
And the season starts right now, right?
Getting ready to,
It's just
yeah,
getting ready
they
to
start
start.
practicing.
I mean, the one thing about asphalt will crack.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that, but it's what you gotta do is make sure that you keep up on sealing it and that sort of thing.
Was
a
it last
bigger-
year?
Small
This year
problem
we-
becomes a real big problem.
They provided us with some epoxy sealer for the cracks in pump
Last year on the poles.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you
If
about.
things other than crack, like if it
yeah.
starts depressing or things of that nature, then.
I mean, they do
you got
take a
bigger
lot of
problem.
maintenance, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
and sometimes people just put a tennis court in the ground and think you're gonna get away with not doing a whole lot
Yeah.
to it.
In Indiana weather, you know, that.
Right.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Brutal.
And this has been brutal this year.
Well, I mean, you have one day where you have 70-degree swing.
Yeah.
So the responsibility, we don't know yet if it's gonna be theirs or ours or shared or.
Yes, yes, and yes. Best way to put it, I don't know yet. We're working with them.
Okay. Okay, that's it.
All right, thanks, Mrs. Allen. Dr. Hawkins?
Well, I know the dance team finished up their season and had some good successes.
Yes,
there.
they
That's
did.
a long,
The high school and the middle
Yeah,
school
that's
both
a
had a
long-
good
yeah.
season, yeah.
good for you guys. And they're all conference selections, you had all conference athletes selected. And then, I don't know if anyone else got this email or not. Did you get the email about the EMS program? About the emergency services program in the vocational? Apparently they've had some, and I didn't get the whole deal, but apparently they've had some success.
They just started it this year, the
Yeah.
first year.
I've
And
heard about it, yeah.
the ones behind it really are championing for it.
Yeah, I know.
Trying to build a program, and they did. They had, I think, 6 to 8 kids that went through the program, and they're going to give them some buttons here,
Yeah,
come up awards, and give the schools a little plaque for.
Yeah, I think
participating.
that's a
Yeah,
great.
it's like everything else. I mean, you got to build the program if you want it to be successful,
Yeah.
and it's much needed. I mean, there's a call for volunteer firemen
Absolutely.
and EMTs, and so they're.
And that's through our vocation.
That's
yeah,
our
it's-
vocational
it's-
club, yeah.
and it meets at North Vermillion.
That's great.
Yeah, a big pusher behind that, I think, too, is
Yeah, Meredith.
Yeah.
Meredith Addison.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
That's an understatement.
well, I got you there.
Full force.
Yeah.
She and her husband both are into emergency medicine, and
Yeah.
it's a good thing that I think that program will go over very well, I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Hawkins. Mrs. Hill?
The only thing I have to add is congratulations to Mrs. Hirschbacher,
Yes.
retirement, and have a good spring break.
And thank you, Mark and Jenny, for coming.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you guys draw straw?
You got the short end, wouldn't miss it.
I just gotta wait to see who's gonna operate the, yeah. thank
Probably
you.
Dave at 2:30.
Yeah.
After I get a text from somebody.
Right.
So we get back and be in the midst of spring sports, and before you know it, it'll be graduation time.
nice.
Yeah. Crazy.
8 weeks to go once we're back. Crazy.
Anything else, guys? Otherwise, entertain the motion. Second?
Second.
Stand adjourned.
Thank you.
I told you.
You called it.